Hi, welcome to Morning Java on DK Pittsburgh Sports. I'm Matt Grubba, and today a special guest with us, Riverhounds head coach Bob Lilley, joins us in the humble studio here. How are you feeling, Coach?
Hi, Matt. Good
Day
to be
before a
here.
game.
We play Saturday in Nashville. Excited about it. The guys are ready for a game, and hopefully we're going to start the season with a positive note.
It's been a pretty long preseason for you, about 6-7 weeks of training, I think now. So do you get the feeling from the guys that they're just itching to get out there against somebody else?
We started on Monday 6.5 weeks ago, so they are definitely ready to have a live opponent, so to speak. They've been kicking each other the last couple of weeks in practice. So, I think it's been good. It's given us time. We've been able to finalize the roster, get a lot of good young players in here that came in on trial, but also, we were able to get Ben Zemansky midway through. He's rounding into shape now. Canardo Forbes just came over from indoors. So this extra time has given us the ability to get everyone here. And more importantly, I think we're getting more and more on the same page as time has gone by. So, yeah, it's time to test ourselves. But, I'm happy we've had a little bit extra time. And, I think we're ready heading into Nashville.
You mentioned some of the guys that you are trying to bring together. You've got a fair number of guys that were with you in Rochester, and then some existing guys, Kevin Kerr, Romeo Parks, that the Hounds fans will know from years past here. And so how has that been sort of meshing, guys and I would assume probably trust a little bit with learning the skill sets of the guys that have been here?
Well, certainly the guys that we kept here are good quality players, and I think they're gonna have good seasons for us. But they don't know my system. They don't, typically when you coach in a city, you have your core back. You're picking up guys' options. There's familiarity there. When the new guys come in, they understand, what it's going to take. There's people to lead the way. I think being able to bring in guys from Rochester has sped up the process. It's an added bonus that we don't just have some good pieces from Rochester, that we were able to keep some very good pieces from here in Pittsburgh. And, I think there's just a little bit more trust. I think sometimes new players, wherever I've been, it's a culture shock sometimes as much as I'll push them and demand from them. It's helpful for me to have guys that have played for me and know, hey, if we get on the same page, we're going to win games, and Bob's not going to take us down the wrong road if we're all together. He's going to fight just as hard as we do to make it happen. So I think that's one of the added benefits of having those Rochester players here.
So the first game coming up in Nashville against a brand new team, the USL expansion team, Nashville Soccer Club, Nashville SC. Their home opener, they're going to be playing in a AAA baseball park for most of the season, but for the opener, ticket demand, they're expecting at least 20,000. They're moving to Nissan Stadium, home of the NFL's Titans. So, Coach, going into that sort of an atmosphere, a little bigger than a lot of cities in the USL will get. So what's that do just for your guys? Does it maybe get them up a little more than a regular opener?
Yeah, I want them to be excited, and I think this is why we play, and this is the ambition to play in front of a big crowd. I mean, when I was a player, but I know these guys are amped up. Hopefully we can keep our emotions in check and be able to manage the game. But it's going to be electric, and I think it's our first game of the season. It's their home opener, and we have to make sure we get off to a good start. That's critical. But, I mean, if we didn't have opportunities like this, it wouldn't be nearly as much fun.
Tell me a little bit about what you know about the Nashville team. I mean, fans who follow the Hounds recognize a few of their players. Lebo Maloto's a creative midfielder. They also have Taylor Washington, who I believe came off the bench in their opener, who's an outside back. But is there anyone that strikes you, or anything about how they played in that first match in their club's history last weekend?
Well, I think, one of the interesting things about Nashville is with them getting an MLS bid, their ownership group has been very aggressive, gotten a very good coach, an experienced coach, They have a strong front office staff led by Mike Jacobs. And they've put together a strong team, a lot of experienced players, a lot of talented players, even players with MLS experience. So, they're not going to be your typical expansion team. And in this league, rosters turn over, and every year is a new opportunity to crack the code, so to speak. So we got our work cut out for us. It's their second league game, and they performed very well in Louisville in a tight game last week. So we're not going to get any favors. We're going to have to go out and earn it in Nashville. Speaking of their team, offensively, they got some size with Cox and Hume if they go that route. They started Cox and Schrute, an English player. They have Mensah off the bench, explosive. Maloto's in behind those two front runners. So they have three very dangerous pieces in the attacking area, no matter how they line up. Good experienced midfielders in LaGrassa and Reed have done very well in our league, and a back line that's not only experienced, it's talented, and they have Pickens in goal. So, I think for us offensively, we're going to have to deal with their size on restarts. Defensively, we'll have to deal with their size on restarts. They do have quickness and dynamic players, so we're going to have to do not only a good job in the back, but also in the midfield, getting pressure on the ball. Offensively, right now, the first game they played with the 3 center backs, so our movement's going to have to be good. I do believe we're going to have to possess the ball, for stretches. I think if we get caught having to chase them for long periods and we get pushed back, I think it's going to be difficult for us. So, we want to come out and play. We want to stay aggressive. We know to win we're going to have to create chances and score goals. So, it's a challenge for us to get it right at both ends. But, I think this is when you learn the most about your team, when you go into the lion's den, so to speak, a big crowd. We talked about it today. We're going to have pressure at playoff time. If we want to be a playoff team, if we want to win things, we got to be able to deal with these moments. And so it's our first test, and, I'm anxious to see how we do. But I do feel confident in the guys and what they're capable of.
Yeah, and the first of 34 games and, a record-long season. So there'll be a lot coming for your team. So one game's certainly not going to decide the whole thing.
No, but, hey, I want to win every game, so we're going to go for it.
Well, Coach, a lot going on with your team getting ready for this, but also a lot going on in the sports world in general. I mean, when you're focusing on preparing for a new season, do you get a chance to watch, March Madness, anything else? What are your interests in terms of outside of the soccer world, outside of your team?
I don't see a lot of what I kind of have the blinders at this time of year, especially. But I find it interesting that Tiger is coming back into the mix. That I've been able to watch a little bit of golf on the Sundays. I haven't obviously been able to watch as much as I'd like, but March Madness, I'll try to watch some of the games. It's just there's so much going on at this time of year. But I'm definitely a big sports fan. I just I've been preoccupied a little bit.
Oh, yeah. Well, has there ever been, again, sticking to March Madness, has there ever been a year for you quite like 10 years ago watching, for those who don't know, this is a George Mason alum right here, former soccer player. Was that run 10 years ago? What were your memories of that?
No, it's interesting. I mean, I got excited and hyped. But they were never that good in basketball. And when I was there, I saw an occasional game. We had a beautiful new complex, the Patriot Center. When it first opened was when I was in university there, and I guess it was 94 through 97, or sorry, 84. 84 to 87.
Sorry, you can cheat a few years if you like.
It was a long time ago, but that run was pretty exciting just because I had never seen anything from a George Mason basketball team. But I like seeing the Cinderella stories, and I think it makes it exciting. It certainly is one of that tournament play one and done, and I think we've kind of created that in our playoff system now in the USL.
Yeah, and you're a veteran. Your years in Rochester, going deep into the USL playoffs. It is a one and done format. So is that a big thing? Just really, once you get in, it's anyone's ball game at that point.
It really is, and I mean, I think there's two ways to look at it. Obviously, you want to be playing your best soccer at the end of the year. That's important. I think New York, we beat them at the end of last year, but they were playing well at the end of the season. They were able to win in Charleston, then win in Tampa, and then lose a tight game in the conference finals. So, it's not paramount that you finish in one of those top one or two seeds. However, the three last champions were the number one seed overall: Rochester in 15, New York in 16, and Louisville in 17. So, I think if you really, have ambitions to win the whole thing, the higher you finish in the standings, more home games. And, that's why these games, even now, game one in Nashville is an opportunity to get 3 points, and you can't waste any of those opportunities.
Yeah, and like you said, first one coming up Saturday. Coach, thanks for joining us here.
Thanks, Matt.